Are you ready for the best Kansas City Chiefs insight? Welcome to Four Guys in a Bar podcast, sponsored by Chiefs Blitz and presented by Dave Purdy with Supreme Lending. For your mortgage solutions, call Dave today at 816-405-5831. That's 816-405-5831 because he's pretty good. Here's your Chiefs Blitz host, Nick Athan, with Lou Montagna, Andre Tillman, and Hense Todd.
Welcome back to the next edition of Four Guys in a Bar, presented by Chiefs Blitz. I am your host, Nick Athan, and my producer extraordinaire, Mr. Hense Todd at Bowtie Sports, producing the show, making everything go because I'm illiterate when it comes to the internet and to all those things related to pressing buttons that don't mute me or unmute me. Anyway, with all that said, before we bring in the other guys, I want to talk about our first sponsor, and that would be my good friend, Mr. Eric Hense with the Eric Hense Group. You can reach Eric at 816-729-3785. If you're looking for a real estate agent in the Kansas City or surrounding areas and need someone you can trust, whether you're going to sell a house, whether you're going to buy a house, he will do all the due diligence. He will make sure that if you're looking for a house, once you find it, he'll make sure everything is done so where you can get your keys after closing and move into your new house. You need someone that understands and can navigate the real estate market in Kansas City, which is extensive. There's a lot of good value out there, but you need someone who can decipher it and make sure you get the best value for your family and something that makes sense for your dream home. So give Eric a call at 816-729-3785.
Proud sponsor of Chief Who.
Proud sponsor of Chief Who, indeed. And with that, we bring in our other cohorts. This is the other senior member, Mr. Lou Montagna, and Mr. Andre Tillman, Coach Drue. Gentlemen, fabulous show on Wednesday. A lot of great numbers, probably because I wasn't on the show, but I'm here again. Had some work stuff to do. So
just to drag us down.
Just Nick. Just. No, I'm just messing with you guys. No, really, we're really excited. We're doing a lot of great things at Chiefs Blitz. Please like our page at Chiefs Blitz on the YouTube.
And there they go again.
Twitter, and Chiefs Blitz on Facebook as well. We are here to stay. The off season is our favorite time. It's my favorite time of the year because we can talk about anything and we can have all this conjecture. And at the end of the day, nobody.
I think we lost Nick, but again,
at that face the whole time. Hey, you know what? For the people that are checking us out on Facebook or Twitter, if you don't mind, go over to the YouTube page and subscribe there. That would be great. Would help us out, bring you more action, and
please subscribe to your boys.
That would really go a lot to help the cause here, gang. So we appreciate it.
Couldn't have said it much clearer or more significant, Lou. Absolutely.
Put the link in. I'll put the link in at the bottom of the chat, and everybody.
Thank you, Bo.
So
look at that. No I in team, Hense. No I in team. Let's go.
Right. No I.
So with that said, man, we all here. We appreciate everybody that's joining in, everybody that's sharing, everybody that's hitting that button.
We appreciate everybody
on Friday, or just waking up, getting away from their wife. You know what I mean? Want to get
or
we don't know what's going on.
Only a married man. Only a married man would say that.
Oh, just chilling. Want to get some downtime from your day. If you're a stay-at-home dad and you want to get some downtime, come and watch a funny show with all the characters and all the great news. Come over here. So with that said, guys, we had a little bit of breaking news yesterday that everybody on the show, y'all three. I want to, Willie Gay, but y'all guys got your guy back. You know what I mean? Drue. So what you got to say about that? What you got to say about that, Nick? What's your
this is great. This is one of the glue guys. I think I wrote in my kind of preview of free agency a week ago that I thought Drue would sign somewhere in the 3 to 18 million. It was 3 to 19. He gets a great contract. The cap numbers are minimal for the next 3 years, so they can certainly absorb that. I mean, he to me was one of the MVPs of the defense. When Nick Bolton went out, he was that glue guy. He bridged the gap. He called the plays. Which I think was impressive because, this is a guy who can play inside, outside, in the middle. He can cover. He's aggressive. He can blitz. He's just one of those guys you want on your roster. And I knew he was a priority. I think they needed to try to at least make an attempt with Snead and Jones, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I'm so thrilled about this. I'm happy for Drue. He came on a 1-year prove-it deal. He got a text from Andy Reid that said Super Bowl, and that was enough to push him over the edge to sign with Kansas City. So a fabulous first move in free agency by Mr. Brett Veach.
Anybody that's been listening to this show for the course of the year, they know the love that we've been showing to Drue Tranquill. Mm-hmm. And I defy anyone out there to show us a more valuable free agent signing in the NFL, not just for the Chiefs, but in the NFL, to what he meant to this team, that drive towards a Super Bowl, that time when, Nick Bolton was out, and here's a guy that's just learning Spags' defense, which is like learning 3 other languages at the same time, right? And he's running it well. So again, I surmised that Nick had his number out there. I surmised that maybe this would be an either or. Maybe they put those numbers in front of Willie and Drue, and whoever took the deal was going to be on the team, and the one that didn't might be walking. So
maybe not. Maybe not. We'll see. And again, we'll talk about that here in a minute too.
Whatever the market bears, Nick, he's going to go out there and he may see that was probably the best deal he could get. But anyway, happy for Drue. Love him as a guy. Love him as a player. So cool to see somebody like that get rewarded, because in this day and age of guys talking about getting the bag and everything else, he did what was best for him, what was best for he and his family, and we're just happy to have him back.
Yep. Man, listen, that man showed his butt all year when he first got incorporated, you know what I'm saying, to the game. Like when Bolden went down, we was like, okay, Bolden goes down, here comes Drue. Man, that man showed out. One of the best cover linebackers in the NFL. I'm saying the NFL, and his IQ level was out this world. Like you said, Lou, to pick up Spags' defensive playbook fast, I mean, the man, it fit like a glove. It fit like a glove. It was like, yo, he is him. I like Drue. Drue, to me, fit what Spags loved to do. He fit the scheme. I love Drue. Drue is amazing. So that was a big signing. Big signing. I
agree.
And I agree with what everybody said, man. But, hey, this a key a situation to life, man. If you don't look at this as a life learning lesson, when you get your opportunity, take heed of it. When you
take advantage of it.
You take it, you get your shot, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
What the guy did, he had a shot. He did. I don't know how he left out of the Chargers building anyway. I don't know how he just left out of there.
Stupidity.
I don't know how they let him go. But again, this speaks of Brett Veach value. This speaks of Brett Veach IQ level of football, you know what I mean, and knowing players and knowing positions. Because he had this guy was ready to go. Ready to go, came in, played, and he knew that, hey, I got to steal while everybody else is laughing at this signing, because a lot of people said the signing was crazy that I heard, you know what I mean? But now you look back at it, the guy's probably one of the best linebackers that played last year. Like Drake said, one of the best cover linebackers out there. So great pickup for the Kansas City Chiefs. As you look at the numbers, it's at 3 years, $19 million. 12.5 million guaranteed, 2 years for 13 million. His cap hit for 2024 is 3 million. For 2025, 8.5 million. For 2026, 7.5 million. And that's which is doable, because you're gonna have a lot of people ain't looking at it. Nick Bolt going to contract will be coming up pretty year, so you lock him in for 3 years. Do they let Nick Bolton walk? We don't know. You know what I mean? Then you got Drue Tranquill. You got him right there to come in and spare the leakage. He's been out there playing well, and he was a big part of us winning the Super Bowl and winning a couple of playoff games also.
Definitely.
Most
definitely. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I mean, you got to have the glue guys, and he was their best glue guy on defense, and again, smart move.
He personifies prepare like you're the starter.
Oh, talk your mess.
If you're not, I mean, can't stress that enough. To walk right in and be that green dot and I don't know that they lost anything. They maybe even gained a little bit.
They
I don't know
gained.
if that's blasphemous to speak against Nick Bolton, but there was no decline in the defense at that point. So yeah, Drue's the guy, man, and he's wearing Joshua Williams' old number.
There you go. There you go.
You gotta like that, Dre.
He wearing that Michael Jordan number.
That's right.
Hey, I'm coming here. I'm the Jordan of the defense. Hey, I'll put it like this. He's glad to be here. Like you said at the parade. This is better than LA. He said Taylor Swift and the boys came in and took it. The guy had the best quote of the Super Bowl parade out there. He had his the scene. If you remember the scene, he had his goggles facing the back with his tank top on.
Hey, from what I could see on TV, he walked most of it.
He walked most
of it. He didn't want to miss
great cardio.
He didn't want to miss a second. He soaked the entire thing in.
Kept saying over and over. All you hear, like the news people walking by, all you hear is, "This is better than LA." That's all you hear in the background. You knew it was him because he only want to walk the mile, the long green mile, talking about it. So
he got good cardio. He's in amazing shape. For you to walk through the whole parade, great cardio. That's the thing I love about him is good cardio.
You know, I want them to bring back Willie Gay. He's one of my favorite players. He's the juice guy of the defense. I can still feel like he can bring him back. What you guys say about that, Nick?
Well, I would say based on this contract with Drue Tranquill that I think there's an opportunity and I think there's a mutual interest that Willie Gay might actually return. And I think he's kind of one of those players that hold on. He's one of those players that has to be in the right scheme defensively. And I think definitely that there's a really good chance that he returns to Kansas City. I think we'll know a lot in the next 24 hours. What I miss? You guys are like shaking your head.
This dude take his clicker off the button off the clicker, man. I'm trying to get my boy in here now. Dang.
Well, go ahead. Go into the comments.
God dang.
Our new favorite fan, or
man,
our favorite, or we're his favorite. I don't know, but let's go.
Let's get it. Okay, CBS projecting that Chris Jones will sign a 4-year deal for $13 million at $13 million a year. Which begs the question: do the Chiefs give him the deal? If not, does he walk? Does he walk or take a team-friendly deal, Nick?
This is what I believe is going on because I thought this thing was going to be wrapped up last week. It sounds like the Katz brothers are shopping him, even though they technically can't. There are probably some teams that might be willing to give him that $32 million. It all depends on the guarantees. This is, Chris's tweet yesterday, which I think Lou, you mentioned it earlier, and I did as well. That's my favorite. That's going to be my favorite picture from the Super Bowl. Let's hope it's not the last time that Andy Reid's jumping on Chris Jones. But I would say right now they are probably have a pretty good understanding of the annual pay structure. But the guaranteed money at the moment is probably a lot higher than the Chiefs are willing to go. It will probably be a 3-year deal when it's all said and done. But I think for Chris right now, if he's trusting the Katz brothers to shop the market, that means Chris is letting them run the show more than he's running the show, and that's his right. And this is his last contract. He deserves to get every dime that he can. There's just not a replacement for Chris Jones, unless they go after Christian Wilkins from the Miami Dolphins, who's going to be a free agent. And I make that switch. But right now, I'm not as optimistic as I was. I think by Sunday night, we're going to have a pretty good answer as to where things stand with Chris Jones. At the end of the day, it's Chris's decision. He has got to decide ultimately, hey, I want to remain a Chief. He said it, publicly, and he said it multiple times, and he went on the parade and says he's not going anywhere. And if he reneges on that, the Chiefs Kingdom, don't turn on him. He's just going for the coin. He has every right to. And if somebody's willing to give him a sick contract, he's going to probably take it versus the opportunity to go for a three-peat. So I think I was about a 80 to 20 optimistic, last week, and I'm probably down to maybe 60-40 at this point, and it's dropping. So I don't know at this point.
I would say 70-30. I think if the Chiefs come close to the numbers, I mean, like damn close, not like 10 million apart or 12 million apart, whatever it is.
Pretty fair
I
number.
think he would want to stay because there's not a lot of contending teams that have that kind of cap space to bring Chris Jones in. So if it's just strictly for the money where he like is going to end his career, I don't know, in Tennessee or
no,
like,
it'll be a contender
or Jacksonville. Like, I don't know that, like, so we could look at the teams and I guess we're putting the cart ahead of the horse, but I still say that he wants to stay in Kansas City. And again, if they come close, they'll do it. Now, what about I mean, if you really want to get granular here, he's the ultimate troll. What do those 6 dots after KC mean?
What's that?
The 6 dots after KC. Let's put it out. Let's put it out to our crowd here. They're pretty hip. They're into this kind of stuff. What do the 6 dots mean?
I'll put it like this. Chris Jones is here to stay. The man is not going nowhere. Everybody, CBS and Nick can say what he want to say. Everybody can say what they want to say. But the guy is not going nowhere. You know what I mean? He's a Chiefs for life. It's a guy. I feel like he has that. If the Chiefs meet him right in the middle, just in the middle, not too much, not that much in the middle. But I feel like
they got to get like this close.
It done.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get a lot closer than the middle.
Like right here.
They are probably.
It's too much of the middle now. Yeah. Come on now.
You're talking about a 12 to 15 million. Yeah. This is 12. Yeah, this is 12 to 15 million in difference right now. That's a lot of money in guarantees. So, this is where they were last year. They were about 12, 15 million dollars apart. But at the end of the day, what happens to the salary part? Can they work everything out? And so at this point, again, I'm 60-40, lose 70-30. As far as Chris Jones goes, ultimately, this is his decision. How much is enough? He's made close to $100 million from the Chiefs so far in his career. What's he going to do with another? What's the difference between adding another 10 or 12? It could be significant. It might be negotiating ploy, but it's his decision, and it's not the Katz brothers' decision. But it's their job to present the best offer. And I can guarantee you that other teams will offer more than Kansas City. And there is a limit to where Kansas City can go. And it's just a shame if they lose Jones, not saying they will. It's a foregone conclusion. They're probably going to lose Snead as well. Then they've got some work to do defensively.
Right. Wins above replacement, Nick. I don't, you said earlier there's nobody to replace him. Christian Wilkins, I think, would be a great option, or kind of like a what's behind door number 2. Not the pass rusher that Jones is. Obviously, Jones has been a winner. I think over the last couple of years, he's actually become he's kind of stepped into his own in terms of becoming a leader on the team. Where in the past, I think he was always kind of taking a back seat behind guys like Frank Clark and some of the other guys on the defense, where I think he kind of owned it the last couple of years, especially this past year. So, yeah, there's a lot to it. And him, he originally drafted. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you'd want to keep him. But again, they're going to be very judicious with the money and maybe even a little cheap. I guess, to lack of a better term, frugal, if you would. I think we've accused, at least I have accused the Hunt family of being kind of frugal with their billions. But hey, it's their money; they can do whatever they want.
Okay, I'm gonna give a shout out to Anonymous Mango. I don't know who your sources are. I don't know who you talk to. I clearly believe you are talking to someone, because that's pretty similar to what I've heard. So whether that's a CBS projection or you're just throwing CBS out there, those are similar numbers to what I think the Chiefs would be willing to do. I'm not sure those numbers are enough for Chris Jones.
I think Anonymous Mango might be the source, Nick.
Could be.
You come in with Anonymous Mango.
I know, it's great.
And your avatar is an orange A. There's something sneaky about that. Is it just 2 guys in a bar now, or what's happening?
I don't know. I love his takes, man.
He's going we having technical difficulties.
Are we talking to ourselves?
Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, is it just us two?
I am Brett Beach. LOL. All right, Brett.
All right.
That's
nice.
it. Well, you would, if you're going to break anything, then Brett, it's certainly, this is the place to do it. So
yeah,
let's
you can't replace.
Listen,
even with a shaky knee, and even with the fact that he played less snaps, you can't replace him. If you really are serious about three-peating, are you going to let 12, 15, 18, 16 million stand in your way for an opportunity to chase history? Now, can they do it without Chris Jones? Yeah, because I think this offense is going to score probably another 7 to 9 points per game with some key adjustments. Another wide receiver, get a nice young receiver in the draft, pick up another running back, all manageable things that they can do to make this offense better. But, you can't lose Jones and Snead in the same year and expect this defense to play anywhere near the level it did last year. Now, they got Tranquill back. They were going to bring Willie Gay. They're probably going to bring Mike Dana back if they do that. And then they either have to make a trade or find somebody that, in the draft and just get lucky like they did with Chris Jones.
Yeah, and some of these younger guys that they've drafted over the last couple of years, you want to see guys start to step up, like FAU. Obviously, this year was kind of like a red shirt year. Didn't really play a lot. Showed some flashes, but that's a guy that's got to step up a little bit. BJ Thompson really didn't get a chance to play much. They had a UDFA, was a really top-notch pass rusher. At least that's what they're looking for in Truman Jones from one of the Ivy League schools, Harvard or something like that. Cam Jones, he could probably, the linebacker, he could probably take over Willie Gay's position. A lot of speed, chase down guy type thing. So there's guys on the roster. You mentioned Snead. Now at least they might be able to get something back from Snead in terms of a trade. Now, a significant thing happened yesterday when Jalen Johnson, the cornerback from Chicago, signed an extension because they had tagged him 4 years, $76 million. I think that's L'Jarius's floor, right? And I think that's going to be kind of the leaping point, because that $19 million is kind of what the franchise tag is, actually a little bit less. So again, the Bears, Ryan Poles, kudos, because that kid was set to make a ton of money. So, L'Jarius, I think one's going to impact the other. If they do lose Jones, then maybe they do step it up a little bit for the corner and L'Jarius Snead. But again, you got guys behind them that they drafted, and they're coming into their third years now. You need those guys to play to see if they're going to be long-term solutions.
Yeah, there's the contract for Jalen Johnson there. 4 years, $76 million. He had more picks than Snead, but Snead's looking for 105 million, and that's a lot. That's a big difference. You're talking about Johnson's one of the premier corners in the NFL. Snead is one of the very best, if not the best, when it comes to, covering the other team's best wide receiver, fitting into the scheme. He's athletic. I mean, both these guys can play. But at the end of the day, what does Brett Veach do? Like, for me, I don't give up. If they lose Jones, and if, then I don't give up at this point any situation here where I don't get at least a first-round pick for Snead. I just hold out. They're in no hurry to move him. The draft is until the end of April. They have plenty of time at this point to do something. And if I'm Snead, I'm signing that contract. I'm signing that and taking my money guaranteed, no matter what. And then saying, hey, let's work out a trade still. Give us time to work out a long-term deal. Again, he has to make the commitment he wants to stay in Kansas City. And at this point with Jones and Snead, if it's their call versus the agent's call, I would say both want to come to Kansas City. But the Chiefs, listen, they won 2 Super Bowls without Tyreek Hill, and there isn't anybody who predicted that. That Vegas bet would have been $1 million to 1, if that was the case. But for me, I think Snead should sign his tender, negotiate a contract or negotiate or facilitate a trade. But if not, if I'm Brett Veach, I hold out for a number 1. I just don't give him up for a 2 and a 5.
Yeah, I don't. No corners have really been traded that high. Maybe if it's like a lower, I would say I don't think anybody like 24 and above is going to give up their first round pick for Snead at this point. Maybe, one of those teams with obviously between 24 and 31 might do it. And I haven't looked at I guess I am looking at the draft order right now. Would a Dallas make that move? Arizona is at 27, Detroit at 29. I could see that.
Detroit's going to be the team, I think, when it's all said and done.
The only I guess urgency on the Chiefs' part is that as long as that tag is out there, there's no massaging that number in the salary cap.
No,
whatever it is, 19.8 million, that is stuck. So that's going to impact what they do with other free agents. Mm-hmm. So there is a little bit of urgency on both sides, actually. But in terms of Snead, if they don't make a deal in terms of a trade, he's not going to sign that thing until like training camp. Yeah, maybe later. I mean, that's just kind of been the way those things have gone.
Yeah, it'll be last minute, depending on what happens. But again, Brett Veach, pulled miracles out of his hats the last couple of seasons.
I trust him implicitly.
And I think at the end of the day, you have to look at him and say, okay, you trust this guy. You believe in what he's doing. He has a handle on the salary cap, and he's got every scenario worked out. I mean, from the day after the Super Bowl, or probably the day after the parade, they're out there working. Okay, here's what we need to do. They're having constant communication with the agents, the St. Louis group that's representing Snead, and also the Katz brothers representing Jones. So I think, again, what's the most important thing they have to do? Can they three-peat, losing both guys and picking up draft compensation and maybe a pick next year, in the compensatory round for Jones? What other free agents can they go after? How does it fit? What's the plan? We don't know at this point, and all we can do is speculate. And right now, I'd say Snead looks more trade, and Jones seems less likely by the hour.
Yeah, and again, it's just so early in the process in terms of the actual thing, kind of like the domino starting to fall. But I think they've kind of laid out what the plan is to some degree. I mean, I think this Tranquill trade speaks volumes of what, kind of the direction that they're going. Obviously, we want to take care of our own players first before we start, spending on others. Now, again, our guy, Anonymous Mango, who's kind of dominating the comments at this point, is talking about guys like Darnell Mooney. And we talked a little bit about him last show. And if Nagy has a say, and he and Veach have been buddies and rivals since they go back to high school days. But yeah, if he has any say and he really likes them, that's great intel to have. So
does he fit the scheme though? It's about, does he really fit what Andy Reid wants to do? We know Nagy, but does he fit?
I don't know that a wide receiver has a scheme fit. I mean, you can either play or you can't. It just depends, because some of yak guys, some of guys that can snatch it out the sky. It just depends on. Well, that's what we always talk about, like your wide receiver group being like a basketball team. You got to have, they all have their different strengths. So you need Mooney would be the over the top guy. And then that would tell you a little bit about which direction they go in the draft. When they draft a young receiver, they would probably go to a bigger guy that, can play opposite of Rashee Rice, and you've got Mooney as your over the top guy. So I don't know that a particular scheme is going to preclude any wide receiver. It's just really how they're deployed.
It just
all right, so go in the chats, Drake. So go in the chats since you've been gone. Go in the chats to get everywhere what they got.
That sounds like a lyric. Since you've been gone. That's a song.
Since you've been gone.
All right, listen. I'm about to get to it. All right, let me see where I left out at. Let me see. It's been a lot of comments. Anonymous Mango been eating. Let's see. Let me see.
Got a lot of questions.
You do. Let me see. Overall guarantee, $90 million, fully guaranteed at signing a $72 million deal. Let's see here.
That's pretty close.
I am a Brett Beach. He said, I am Brett Beach.
Yeah. So let's go a little further down the list. We hit those already.
Okay. Let me go here. Okay. Donnell Mooney. We talked about Donnell Mooney. We did talk about him. Okay. Do you fellas think that CJ95 hits the free agency marker, or does Reach pull it off in time to avoid losing him? Now, this is my thing real quick. Again, CJ earned every bit of what he wants to do. It doesn't even matter right now, man. If that man wants to go ahead and pack his bags and leave Kansas City, y'all can't help but to respect CJ because he knows his worth. Right. He's been putting in work. He's been clutch. Everything you want from a defensive tackle, he's been him. So if he was to walk off, if this photo was a final photo with him and Andy Reid, I love it.
It's a good way to go out.
Absolutely. So my take on that, let the man test the market. Let the man see what's going on with the value. Because if you get a big contract, he's leaving. If they pay him, he's leaving, and we shouldn't be upset for that at all.
Once again, he's not going anywhere, guys.
33 million, 30 million. That's a number the Chiefs aren't going to hit.
Hey, even if the Katz brothers want to give the illusion that they're doing their job, they do have to go to market at least for a day or two, just to make it look like they're doing their job.
Okay, but you got to look at it like this. I think there's one team in the NFC that's going to kind of ultimately decide if the Chiefs retain Snead and or Jones, and I think that's going to be the Detroit Lions. They have ownership that is willing to put the money in. They got a taste of it. They kind of screwed things up in that game and had a chance to play in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, but at the end of the day, they couldn't get it done. The Detroit Lions, to me, I think are the team that would give Jones that contract. Might give up the end of the first round pick for Snead. That's the team that I fear because they have the most to gain. They have the financial resources to make it happen. They have cap space. They have a bulldog head coach. They came so close a year ago that, to me, that's the team that I fear the most. Could really put a wrinkle in what the Chiefs want to do with Jones and Snead. I'm not saying they're going to get both, but I wouldn't be surprised if they get one. At this point, I would say more Snead than Jones, but they're all in. They're putting all their chips on the table. They don't care about the future years. They don't care about any of that stuff. They believe they are a Super Bowl champion next year. That's their mentality, and they're going to go after the best players. And if you put Jones and Hutchinson, in the same defensive line, that's going to be killer. That's going to be a killer defense for Detroit. They already have a good defense. That'll make them special.
At least it's out of conference,
guys. Right? We lost Drake. Yeah, keep going.
At least it's out of conference, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you do see them, it would be in the Super Bowl. But again, the Jones thing is it's just him. It's his personality. Even if the deal is for all intents and purposes done, or it's kind of like, he's going for it. He's going to milk this for as long as he can.
Sure he is.
To kind of, obviously to get some more views and some more clicks. And he's just like, he likes to troll. So there he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is how Chris Jones has always been. And, God love him. He says all the right things. He's made it very clear of his stance and all these things too. But, like you and I were talking before the show, he's 30 years old. He has made a lot of money. Here's a chance to say, now I can make money for my family, my kids, my grandchildren, my great grandkids. They never have to worry about money ever again. Even if he plays 2 years, at a minimum, he's going to get another $60 million, after taxes. He's going to probably clear about 35 to 40. So listen, I'm not going to blame him if he goes. I'm not going to be upset with him if his word changed, because quite honestly, if someone's willing to give him 32 to 33 million and give him $99 million guaranteed, he's going to take it. He's already going.
Which he probably should, right?
He's already going to the Hall of Fame. He'll go in as a Chief regardless of where he ends up the last 2 or 3 years of his career. But again, he controls his destiny. If that extra $15 to $18 million is too much money to pass up, and if he kind of doesn't appreciate what the Chiefs did to him to make sure he didn't lose any of his money last year and gain money when he was set to be fined a significant amount of money after the Katz brothers scenario in the suite on opening day, winning a Super Bowl back-to-back, going on that stage. Listen, again, it's all about the coin. It's all about the Benjamin. It's all about the iron. If the iron is heavy, that's where the player is going to go.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to blame Chris Jones one bit.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Again, his agents do, they're doing their job. I mean, they got to, get him the best deal possible. This is his last deal for all intents and purposes. So if he goes, he goes. But selfishly, of course, we want to keep everybody, but you can't keep them all. There is a salary cap. It is real, and you see a lot of teams around the league right now finding that out. Do you ever see the movie The Purge? Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay, I think
that's one of my favorite. Not one of my favorite movies. So
that's what's happening in Buffalo. You've seen it to some degree in Baltimore with all the different free agents they have. They haven't really re-signed anyone. The Chargers are probably going to be puking stuff up this weekend because they got to get under the cap.
Give me Mike Williams. Give me Mike Williams.
All these teams, I mean, it's like he's like, oh my God, they got rid of this guy. They got rid of this guy. I mean, Denver, they walk away from $85 million dead money with Russell Wilson. They cut their all-pro, all-world safety.
And speaking of that,
there is a cap. So this is evidence.
Right. Yeah. So speaking of that, looking at Buffalo, before we get right into that, let's get right into our next sponsor.
All right, let's do it.
Get right to our,
somebody's got to pay for this stuff.
Someone's got to pay the bills.
Go ahead.
All right, for all the new people, I want to introduce you to Mr. Dave Purdy with Extreme Lending. Dave is your specialist when it comes to finding the right mortgage, whether you're an independent contractor, whether you're W-2. Makes no difference. He has a loan option available to you and your family. You want someone that understands numbers. Numbers in life are key, and you have to have an understanding who knows how the interest rates are going to go, have a prediction of what the interest rates are going to be in the future. Someone who understands the difference between, what's a good mortgage and a bad mortgage. That's my friend Dave Purdy. You can reach Dave at 816-405-5831. Again, if you're one of these people who are looking at the rates, and you might be looking to refinance, you've got a lot of credit card debt, you're looking to find your dream home, there are options out there. He found an option for myself and my wife, Emily. We're extremely happy about that. It wasn't easy because I am a self-employed individual. And so at the end of the day, I trusted Dave. He got it done. So give him a call at 816-405-5831. We love Dave because he is pretty good. Another guy.
Speaking of pretty good, the Buffalo Bills are not pretty good anymore. They are had their cutting off legs, pinky toes, and everything else just to save their franchise. And before we went into the sponsors, we was talking about the cap. The cap is real because these teams is out there was trying to build to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The Broncos, the Chargers, the Buffalo Bills, those teams out there. Now you look at them, they all falling apart. They got to cut a lot of mega stars and stuff like that. So what you had to say about that, Blue?
Well, I guess we were talking about it before. This is their purge. The salary cap is real. Ken St. Clair is asking, would you have any interest? Would the Chiefs have any interest in any of these guys? And not necessarily. I mean, if Tre'Davious White could ever be healthy, and they lose Snead, maybe that would be a guy. But other than that, not really. I guess Gabe Davis, he's a free agent, so he wasn't part of this. So in terms of the Buffalo Bills, I would say those two players, but they would have to. Tre'Davious White would have to have all sorts of health guarantees or clauses in that contract because you just can't trust them to be on the field. So, they've got to everybody's trimming. Yeah, I should say everybody, even though the cap went up significantly more than we thought it was going to go up.
Yeah.
The league is making so much money. You have these teams cutting starters just to get under the
they're not even under the cap yet until they restructured Josh Allen's contract. So, they restructured Von Miller. And you look at that list, and there's a couple of guys there that I would bring in. I would bring in Jordan Poyer. I would bring in White. If the Chiefs have any concern about Humphries and his snapping, issues over the last, couple of months of the season,
Nick, come on.
Hold on.
We've had.
I mean, again, you got to look, but you got to look at every angle if you're the Chiefs. Again,
well, they can't cut Creed.
I'm not saying they're going to cut him. I'm not saying I'm just saying if there are concerns and he's a free agent in August. And, Humphries continues to have issues, who knows? But listen, you want guys who can fill, backup roles, guys who can start, they've got some guys who are being cut, and there's going to be a lot more. You mentioned the Chargers. They have to cut a significant number of players over the weekend.
Right.
And one of those guys could be Mike Williams, the wide receiver. Now, he's never been able to stay healthy. He's a phenomenal athlete. He always plays well against the Chiefs. He always gets injured against the Chiefs. But for Buffalo, they're probably not done making cuts. But I would look very closely at Poyer and White, as two guys that I would bring in for depth for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, and I'll look at White too. But White only played 11 games. He only played a full 11 games, but good. like Teron said, great Buffalo purge. 2020.
A big puke up.
Yeah, exactly. The great Buffalo purge.
but looking at it, all these other teams, like you spoke of, the Chargers. The Chargers gonna have to cut a Mike Williams. They're gonna probably have to, cut a Keenan Allen. They're
gonna keep Keenan. They're gonna keep Keenan.
They probably keep him, but I'm saying if they do. All around, but again,
new regime, a lot of really overpaid guys that are stars in name only. I mean, Joey Bosa, God bless him, when he plays, he's a pretty good player, but he doesn't play enough to warrant what they're paying him. Khalil Mack was great and still is probably a good player, but he's not worth the money that's owed him. Derwin James, I think Jim Harbaugh loves him, but does he love him at that number? Probably not. So there's gonna be a lot of changes around LA, and he's gonna bring in a bunch of young players, and they're gonna win, but there's gonna be a lot of guys out there. So the free agent pool is certainly gonna get bigger before the new league year starts. I think it's Wednesday.
It starts Wednesday at 3 o'clock.
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday at 3 o'clock. And listen, I think when you look at the division, I mean, the Broncos are basically done. They're screwed themselves with the Russell Wilson situation. They're going to be in cap hell for 2 years. They can make some nice moves, and maybe they'll have a halfway decent draft. I'm still not a Sean Payton guy. The Raiders, to me, are still a rudderless ship. I don't like Pierce and his antics. I don't think it warrants some of the things coming out of their mouth. The Chargers, though, listen, I love Harbaugh. I wanted him to replace Andy Reid. He was my guy. I think it's going to take him a year, maybe 2 years. But by the time Patrick hits that 30, 31, that's going to be the team that I think could unseat the Chiefs in the AFC West, because I think Harbaugh is going to make them that good. And what their decision now is, what do we do? Do we let these veterans go? Do we start over? They've got a lot of cap held this year. And they're not even paying, Justin all that much money in compared to the other quarterbacks. His guarantees were a bit lower. His annual salary was a bit lower. So I don't really see.
That hasn't kicked in yet either. I mean, that's another year out before that, that number really starts to get big.
Yeah. So I think the Chargers will probably still be second place to the Chiefs this year. I put their coaching staff, and the coaching staff they put together is really solid. That could rival Kansas City eventually, but the Chiefs are still the team to beat.
Well, the thing is that Harbaugh typically burns bright for X amount of years, and then
5 years. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
So he may still, I mean, if he's still coaching at that time or wants to, I think he's probably around our age. I'm going to say like 60, 61 ish.
He's 60. Yeah, he's 60. He's 60.
So 5 years from now, if Andy decides then to walk away, if he wants to keep coaching, he may still be the guy, Nick. So still hold out hope.
Well, I'll hold out hope, but I think I think Harbaugh, based on, he wants to win a Super Bowl. That is his singular focus.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To secure his own personal legacy, to match his brother, to follow the legacy of their father. Everybody's won something in the NFL, and that's what he wants more than anything. And I think it'll take him at least 2 seasons to build an elite team. Their quarterback's going to still be in, near the prime of his career. So there's not going to be issues there. It's just a matter of, Herbert can take that next step, can really handle the pressure in a postseason game, or having to win in the regular season to get a top seed, to win a division. Those remain to be seen. But Harbaugh is going to have the Chargers rocking and rolling. The attitude's going to change immediately. The stuff that went on with Staley was just a joke. Everybody disliked this guy. They've changed their directions. That's the team that if I'm Kansas City, I want to stay a year or two ahead of them at all costs. And that brings us back down to CJ and Snead, and if they're going to be aggressive in free agency. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to determine how much longer that gap remains between the second best team in the AFC West and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, the run is not going to last forever, but I think the way that they set things up, salary cap structure wise, the different how they've laid out the contracts, especially Patrick's, and the flexibility of being able to convert certain things and massage the cap.
Right.
They don't mortgage the future. Right. I mean, we're kind of rolling in a particular direction, kind of that Green Bay model, but their star quarterback is winning Super Bowls and not just, saying a lot of nonsense in different podcasts. But I mean, I'm impressed with the way they've run this whole thing over the last few years, because initially when Patrick signed his deal and it was all this, oh my God, what they're going to pay him how much?
Yep.
That looks like a freaking bargain right now, doesn't it? I mean, compared to some of what these other quarterbacks get, and the fact that along the way he's won 3 rings.
Well, yeah, and it's just Brett Veach, and listen, it all happened because Patrick Mahomes designed the contract to where he could always give money back to help the team. He's the largest cap hit. He's going to be a large cap hit this year and next year, and then it goes insane after the 20. And he should be. And after the 2026 season, obviously they're going to have to renegotiate the contract. But the way that he structured it and his agents put it together, the Chiefs always have a way to create money. Every single year that Patrick Mahomes is under contract, and just by moving money around this year, they could have an extra 25 or 27 million in cap space. And we haven't even talked about, Joe Thuney getting an extension, Justin Reed getting an extension, Travis Kelce getting an extension to bring their cap numbers down. So again, I look at this offseason and I look at this free agency period, and, everybody panicking over Chris Jones, and, is he going to come back? Is he not going to come back? The Chiefs can pay him $30 million a year and give him $95 million guaranteed, no problem. But does it benefit them to do so when they know the cap's going to go up, when they know that there are other areas that they need to take care of on this football team? They've got 25 free agents, 24 now that Drue Tranquill signed. They haven't really extended anybody else at this point. Now, I think you'll hear more of that, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and into Monday morning before the legal tampering begins on Monday at 3:00. So, again, you look at what are the Chiefs competing against right now with Jones? They're competing against his desire to make the most money versus a three-peat. With Snead, it's kind of the same thing. At least they know where they stand with these guys, and that's not a bad thing. So Veach can alter his plan and maybe do some stuff as well. But, who knows? I mean, Frank our good friend up in Toronto, hey, would we be shocked if CJ? He'd be shocked if CJ doesn't sign. I would kind of be shocked as well, just based on what he said. But we can beat this horse. We can beat this horse all the way against the barn and take off its legs and take his shoes off his feet.
We have killed several horses.
We have on this thing. We have definitely, and I think that again,
not literally.
This is
everybody. All
this
you
is still a
all
family
you
show,
folks. No.
We all respect. We all respect the animals.
No animals have been hurt or injured during the production.
I can't even ride a horse. The last time I tried to ride a horse, I couldn't walk for 3 days. So that ain't gonna happen again.
Hey now.
But again, as everybody asks, everybody main concern is Chris Jones. What they gonna do with Chris Jones? They were. I'm certain for sure. I think the Chiefs wouldn't tag Snead if they weren't going to sign Chris Jones.
I agree with you 1,000%.
I don't believe they tag Snead if they weren't going to sign Jones if they didn't already have a contract in place and both parties agreed upon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe Patrick Mahomes is not out the loop. If he retweeted it, so I don't think he's out the loop. I think he knows that Chris Jones is going to sign. He won't just tweet.
If anybody knows, it's Patrick Mahomes. So Patrick, if you're listening, just give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. Something that.
Just use your anonymous Mango account.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll know what's up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of Patrick Mahomes, him and the family out on vacation. And
wait a second. Wait, hold on. Before you get to that, Hense. Speaking of Patrick Mahomes. Did you go when you went to the barber? Is that what you said? Just give me the Patrick?
No, I didn't say give me the Patrick. I said give me the old hits. We got
to see the side. We got to see the back. You got a faux hawk going there, my friend. That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
Thank you, sir. But speaking of Patrick Mahomes, a picture that's been going around the internet. A baby Bronze holding the football. Is this the future of the Chiefs?
Let it fly,
he's
kid.
Not focused, yeah. He's not focusing on nothing else. He's not even focused on the wind, the beautiful sand between the toes. He's not focused on none of that. He just said, hey, when is my time to shine? When is I can grip this ball. Give me that.
You know what? That's
grip the ball. Go ahead, Nick.
Look at that ball. You know what that is? I guarantee I'll put money on it. I bet you that is one of Patrick Mahomes' first footballs because that thing is beat up. It's one of the old pro series balls. Wilson, that's 19.
All discolored
that's the 2000 era. I would not be shocked if that is maybe that's a football that his father gave him, Pat Mahomes Sr., and now he's giving it to his son. That's got some wear and tear on it, so that would be special. So I think it's a great photo, and I think one of the funnest ones was from the Super Bowl, and somebody put a caption as
face.
Yeah,
he was
Dad, like Dad, I'm gonna break every one of your records. Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Give him the baseball first, though. He's got to learn. Give him something he can handle.
You never know. I mean, I got a feeling the football is going to be the first thing that the first thing that he does. I mean, they have an amazing athletic. I mean, Brittany was a world-class athlete as well, and Patrick obviously is too. And even though he's got a dad bod, and for all the dads out there, kudos to him that he can win back-to-back Super Bowls with a dad bod. I love it. But Patrick Mahomes is just something special, guys. I mean, we're still so lucky, and good for him having time with the family. That's important. He's given a lot to Kansas City. He's given a lot to the Chiefs kingdom, and it's good to see that his core values are still in place. He's a family guy. Those things matter to him. So we'll see. We'll see.
With that said, let's go ahead and give it to our sponsors before we close out here.
All right, let's do it. All right, first up, my good friend, Mr. Eric Haynes. With the Eric Haynes Group, if you're looking for a real estate specialist, if you're selling a house in Kansas City, looking to buy a house, you need someone who understands, one, the market, understands, two, what's a good house and a good fit for your family. Just because you might like something, there may be things with a house that you didn't realize with some issues. You want someone who understands every small and big detail when it comes to finding a house. It's a great time to buy a house. Interest rates are steady. And there's a lot of inventory out there that are at really good market prices. When interest rates come down further, these house prices are going to go up. and it's going to be a pretty good gap. So that's why if you're looking to buy a house now is a really good time. So when that happens, give Eric Haynes a call at 816-729-3785, or you can email him at esellskc@gmail.com.
Proud sponsor, Chief Who?
That's correct. And with that, we're also going to talk about my good friend, Mr. Dave Purdy. We love Dave because he's pretty good, and he's pretty good because he knows his business. He understands how to work the mortgage industry. He knows the difference between getting somebody approved as a W-2 or a 1099 like myself. He understands that you have options, and he has presented my wife and I with so many options. Ultimately, we found the one that best fits us and moving forward into closing our house next month, all because he took good care of us. He walked us through the process. He understands numbers. And first and above everything else, I trust him, and he's a good person. He's a big Chiefs fan. I've known him a long, long, long time, and I just appreciate everything he does. So give Dave Purdy a call at 816-405-5831. We love Dave because he is
pretty
good.
And speaking of pretty good, we want to give a shout out to Drue. He got kicked off because
Sorry, buddy.
I think it's raining out here. I don't know for sure, but
he's out beating the bushes for that anonymous man.
Surprised he didn't show up.
We got to figure
Surprised
out who
he didn't
this
show up
is.
at your house.
So we want to give a shout out to Maryland, Anonymous, Mango, Frank. You we got to get you shout out Frank in Toronto. We got to get the love out there, bring in some more Chiefs fans. Share Ray, Frank. We will have you on the show one day.
Absolutely. And
now
go ahead. You go ahead.
I'll give a shout out to my auntie, for coming on the show, sharing the love.
She's still only sharing it with you, Hense. I don't,
she
anything about the other guys. But hey,
we haven't gotten any Pop-Tarts yet. How come?
Whatever.
Homemade Pop-Tarts.
Auntie Pamela, come on.
We will give a shout out to Joseph Tube. Thank you for joining in. And Kareem, the faithful Kareem, thank you for always joining in.
Ken St. Clair checking in.
Miss St. Clair also checking in too. You guys are faithful. You the guys are why we do this. You guys are family to us. So again, also remember, go to Chiefs Blitz at www.youtube whatever has at Chiefs Blitz for all your subscribe there, and also our Facebook page also. Subscribe there also at our Facebook page and our Twitter page also. So with that said, guys, we love all you guys that's joining in. Please continue to share away.
We appreciate you. More. Stay tuned on Monday. We may go on it a little bit later to the onset of the free agent tampering period. Because usually within the first 10 to 30 minutes or the first hour, there are deals announced, even though they can't be executed until Wednesday at 3:00. So we'll post those details soon. Everybody have a great weekend. Cross your fingers that Chris Jones resigns. Cross your fingers that L'Jarius Sneed will be traded for a first-round pick, and I would consider that a world-class weekend. So the Chiefs can move forward with everything else, and expect one or two of their internal free agents, I believe, will also, outside of those two guys, be signed over the weekend. So
here comes Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah. Drue Lock. Oh, I said it out loud.
So with that said, he said he will be honored to be on the show, Frank said. And my auntie said, have a great weekend.
Pop-Tarts.
Everyone.
Pop-Tarts.
All right.
I want apple Pop-Tarts.
Love you, auntie. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for always tuning in. And so with that said, guys, we'll be back Monday. Stay tuned for the time. We will be starting late for free agency. So with that said, have a great weekend.
All right, guys. Take care.